Good day, distinguished officials and colleagues. My name is Ali Salim, representing the MBRSG, Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government, and I'm pleased to welcome you back to the concluding segment of our module. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere apologies for the technical difficulties that occurred during the final 10 minutes of our previous presentation. Regrettably, I was unaware that the audio had been disrupted, and I appreciate your understanding and patience as we address this issue. To ensure continuity and clarity, let us commence with a brief recap of the key points from our presentation. Following this, we will resume where we left off. Should you have any questions, recommendations, or suggestions, please feel free to email us at MBRSG. Your insights are highly valued, and we are committed to making this educational experience both informative and engaging. Okay, so let's have our quick recap. Let's start with governance. We defined it simply as how societies make decisions, and we defined resource management in simple terms. It's all about using money, people, and nature wisely. Now, both governance and resource management together, governance and resource management, they both drive progress, and our goal is to explore global ideas, as we mentioned last time, to complement Nigeria's vision. Norway showcases effective governance through its strong institutional frameworks and commitment to transparency, particularly in managing its sovereign wealth fund. This fund invests surplus revenues from Norway's oil and gas sector and is governed by strict ethical guidelines and transparency measures, ensuring public accountability. The Norwegian government provides detailed reports on the fund's performance and investment strategies, building trust among citizens and stakeholders. Norway's participatory governance approach encourages civic engagement, giving citizens a voice in decision about resource allocation and national priorities. This inclusive model boosts public trust and ensures that the benefits of resource wealth are fairly distributed, demonstrating that effective governance is key to sustainable development and long-term economic stability. We have learned that Norway's approach to resource management, particularly through its sovereign wealth fund, serves as a model for sustainable economic practices. The fund converts oil and gas resources into a sustainable financial asset for future generations, ensuring prudent management of natural resource wealth. This strategy helps Norway mitigate the risk of resource dependency and provides a financial protection against economic volatility. By effectively managing its natural resource wealth, Norway secures economic stability and sets benchmark for other nations aiming to balance resource extraction with sustainable development goals.
Norway. On today's episode of the Infographics Show, we're going to explore how this small Scandinavian country controls the world. Petroleum companies around the world thought that there might be valuable resources lurking in the Norwegian continental shelf, more specifically oil. Esso did find some oil at a site called Balder in 1967, but the deposit wasn't economically viable. Then in 1969, while exploring another section of the shelf, Phillips Petroleum got an early Christmas gift: oil. And not just any oil, the discovery of Ekofisk turned out to be one of the largest offshore oil fields ever found. Before granting any drilling permits, Norway's head of state, Einar Gerhardsen, made a brilliant move. In May 1963, he declared that the Norwegian government had sovereignty over the Norwegian continental shelf. That meant that any natural resources found there belonged to the state, not to foreign corporations. To keep control of its resources, Norway established a national energy company called Statoil, now known as Equinor. The government still holds a 67% majority stake in the company, ensuring that Norway, not foreign corporations, manage its vast oil reserves and other energy sources like hydrocarbons. The Norwegian government made sure that if oil was being drilled, it wouldn't just make foreign corporations rich, it would enrich Norway itself, and by extension, the Norwegian people. And that brings us to Norway's current status as a quiet powerhouse, a secret controller and investor in much of the world. Though Equinor has undergone changes like partial privatization and the government directly investing in oil field development in exchange for a share of the profits, one thing remains constant: oil still makes Norway an insane amount of money. How much, you ask? As of December 2024, the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund was standing at around 20 trillion kroner, or $1.8 trillion. For a country of 5.5 million people, the Norwegian government then made once again a very smart decision. They did not want to be subject to the unstable highs and lows that, depending on a one-resource industry like oil, can create in an economy. They also didn't want to fall prey to the resource curse, an issue that affects many countries in which precious metals and resources are discovered. The resource curse is the tendency of resource-rich nations to fall into political instability, economic inequality, corruption, or outright poverty. This happens when profits create an oligarchy, confining the wealth to the elite, when government corruption erodes democracy and leads to authoritarian rule, or when foreign exploitation drains the country's resources for outside benefit. And sometimes nations hit the worst-case scenario, suffering from all three at once. The Government Pension Fund. It may sound like a bureaucratic organization that gives senior citizens their retirement checks, but it's actually one of the wealthiest and simultaneously most intelligently run operations the world has ever known. The Government Pension Fund is split into two entities: Government Pension Fund Global and Government Pension Fund Norway. The latter concerns itself mostly with domestic investments in big Norwegian companies and functions a bit like a national insurance fund. But the Government Pension Fund Global, otherwise known as GPFG, that's where Norway holds the real power, because it is the single largest investor in the world. Though the fund rarely has a majority stake in companies, it holds at least a small stake in today's most important international corporations, at least 9,000 of them. The fund is operated by the central bank, Norges Bank. The Ministry of Finance creates its investment strategy, while the Norwegian Parliament has created a framework for investments and studies potential changes to the framework. But at the end of the day, the fund is owned by the people of Norway, and those people are sitting on a gold mine, or rather an oil mine. The GPFG is so massive, it now holds around 1.5% of all shares in international companies. But it's not just about stocks. While 70% of the fund's value is invested in global equities, 25% is in bonds, with the rest spread across real estate and energy infrastructure. Some of its biggest holdings include Microsoft at $41 billion, Apple at $35 billion, and Nvidia at $34 billion. But that's just the beginning. The fund also has significant stakes in Eli Lilly and Company, JP Morgan Chase, ExxonMobil, Alphabet, Google's parent company, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, just to name a few. Not only that, but the fund has been performing better than ever. Due to strategic investments and the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which sent gas prices soaring, it doubled in value from 2019 to 2024. Norway's sovereign wealth fund now generates an annual return of around 6.3%, making it better at investments than most Wall Street hedge funds, which averaged an annual return of 5% during the 2010s. Right now, the value of Norway's sovereign wealth fund translates to $321,000 for every person, including children living in Norway. According to Tufts University, it's considered to be one of the world's most transparent sovereign wealth funds and with the best corporate governance. And the GPFG ensures that its principles are upheld by voting in accordance with them on shareholder boards. That Norway's investments are more transparent. The fund publishes information on its portfolio value, the companies it has investments in, the percent of capital and voting rights it has in any particular company, and therefore it doesn't have mysterious, opaque, sometimes questionable natures that other sovereign wealth funds are known for. That might signal to companies throughout the world that if they want to attract the attention of the world's largest sovereign wealth fund, their governance should fall in line with the GPFG's guidelines. This way, Norway's fund exercises a form of soft power. In addition, the fund's insane wealth and great return on investment also serve as an example that investment that's guided by some base level of ethics and sustainability can still be incredibly profitable.
So what are the lessons learned from history? We must draw lessons from historical experiences, as failing to do so will inevitably lead to the repetition of past economic missteps. An ancient Greek philosopher once said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." History always offers us a clear roadmap. Having said that, previously I highlighted two key lessons to be learned from our module. The first being Norway's model, But now I would like to draw your attention, please, to the second lesson, as it presents as a stark contrast to the Norwegian approach. It's the total opposite of the Norwegian approach. I call it the Venezuelan lesson. So Venezuela stands as a warning of what happens when a nation depends almost entirely on oil revenues and lacks governance and resource management. Let's have a brief history first. It's shocking how Venezuela is associated with being poor, despite possessing the world's largest oil reserves. It's a result of a combination of economic mismanagement, corruption, over-reliance on oil, and the negative effects of socialist policies. Now, I'm not here to judge any political system, but in this case, this is the obvious scenario. The country is suffering with severe hyperinflation, causing the Venezuelan bolivar, that's the name of the currency, to lose significant value against the US dollar. The government even had to divide currency notes by a million to manage the astronomical numbers, highlighting the extent of the economic crisis. Venezuela's economy became over-relied dependent on oil, a condition known as Dutch disease. Well, actually, Dutch disease usually is defined as the reliance, like the nation's reliance or any nation's reliance on a single commodity. While oil contributes substantially to the country's GDP and exports, the failure to diversify the economy and reinvest oil profits into other sectors have left Venezuela vulnerable to oil market fluctuations. In summary, these factors have made the country extremely vulnerable to oil market fluctuations, leading to its current economic crisis. Personally, I believe they should have adopted the Norway's model of governance and resource management to avoid all these problems. Now, from 2013 to 23, oil accounted for roughly 90 to 95% of government income. Mismanagement and corruption at the state oil company contributed to a 60% drop in real GDP over the decade. This is according to the World Bank. In 2024, Corruption Perceptions Index ranked Venezuela as 180 out of 180 due to continuous vague institutional mismanagement. This is according to Transparency International. Of course, decades of neglect in agriculture caused soil erosion, deforestation, and severe food shortages. Now, hyperinflation peaked at around 1.6 million%. I'll repeat that again. Hyperinflation peaked at around 1.6 million% in 2018. By early 2024, it had eased to roughly 50% annually, yet most people still struggle to afford the basics. Now, what lessons should we learn? Lesson number 1, diversify the economy. Relying on a single commodity is a recipe for disaster. When oil prices plummeted, Venezuela's public finances collapsed overnight. So the lesson here, governments should build robust agriculture, manufacturing, and service sectors to avoid oil price volatility and, most importantly, to protect citizens from price shocks. By the way, before the discovery of oil, the main sources of income and GDP before oil came from several sectors. It was renowned for its agriculture production back in the day before oil, particularly in crops like coffee, cocoa, sugarcane, and corn. Coffee in particular was a significant export product and a major contributor to the economy. The country was also one of the world's leading producers of high quality of cocoa, which was a valuable export commodity. In addition to agriculture, mining activities, particularly in iron and other minerals, contributed to the economy, although to a lesser extent compared to agriculture. Again, they should have learned governance and resource management from Norway, since there was a perfect example available to everyone. And what we just mentioned leads us to the second lesson. Abandoning farming led to empty supermarket shelves, soaring black market prices, malnutrition, and mass migration. I think over 25% of the population have migrated from Venezuela. So I think public and private partnerships, improved seeds and irrigation, plus guaranteed price schemes can restore domestic food production and strengthen rural livelihoods. Again, agriculture was the number one source of GDP and income before oil. So it's sad to see that agriculture being abandoned after the oil discovery, or neglected actually, which led sadly after the recession and after the inflation or the hyperinflation for the supermarkets to be empty from basics actually. Having said that, Nigeria serves as a compelling case study. Lagos State's overhaul of its tax code has led to a significant increase in internally generated revenue, rising by 60 to 70% since 2015, demonstrating that diversifying revenue sources beyond oil is crucial for sustainable government spending. Additionally, transparency initiatives by organizations like Budget, which publish federal and state budgets in real time, empower citizens to hold their leaders accountable and foster a culture of transparency, unlike the misuse of public funds we've seen in other contexts. Furthermore, investments in seeds, small-scale irrigation, and guaranteed crop price schemes have boosted agriculture yields and helped maintain affordable food prices, supporting the livelihoods of Nigerian farmers. Lastly, the growth of major tech firms by around 10 to 15% between 23 and 24 illustrates how sensible regulation can stimulate new industries and create jobs driving economic development. These initiatives highlight the resilience and innovation of the Nigerian people in driving economic progress. By learning from Venezuela's mistakes, diversifying the economy, enforcing transparency, investing in agriculture, protecting the currency, and encouraging innovation, not only Nigeria and UAE, but also other nations around the world can build a more stable, prosperous future, away from only relying on a single commodity or a single source of income. Now, if you allow me, let me share some inspiring lessons from Abu Dhabi and Dubai, led by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Their leadership transformed their emirates and country into a major global player through smart governance, economic diversification, and a strong focus on people.
In a quiet corner of Abu Dhabi is a city that has the potential to change the world. Masdar City has been 16 years in the making and is designed to be as energy efficient as possible, powered entirely by renewables with no combustion engine cars at all. And there were you thinking that Abu Dhabi was all about oil.
So what is Masdar City? Well, it's a revolutionary project designed to create the city of the future. Conceived in 2008, development of the city will continue over a series of planned phases. Masdar City is a testbed for urban sustainable science, for efficiencies in energy, water, mobility, food, health tech, space and AI.
Walking around these streets, there's more to the architecture than just modernism. The buildings and spaces have been designed to maximize shade and funnel the air to cool the temperature.
Everything was designed to reduce the energy consumption inside the buildings, but also increase the livability and the walkability of your comfort outside.
Talking of vehicles, tell us about this program.
Well, this is our partner Navia. It's the second generation of autonomous vehicles. You can actually come to Masdar City and try one, and you tell it where you want it to go, and it drives itself.
You could jump in front of this and it will stop.
Let's hope. I mean, let's hope. I noticed that you position yourself up. Oh. Yes, it will stop. I did notice you position yourself farther away from the vehicle than me. It's like, okay, I trust you, but not all the way, Steve.
No, completely. But look, it would appear at first sight that autonomous vehicles here are safe as houses. And at Masdar, they have their own personal rapid transport system. And this is so good because people don't want to travel on buses. When you're talking mass transportation, they want small, comfortable spaces, a lot like their cars. So this is a stroke of real brilliance. I'm going to go to the Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence.
Closing. الأبواب تغلق.
Another genius of Masdar City lies underground. A 2-kilometre network of tunnels that's already carried 2 million passengers. Sustainable transport choices like this reduce the need for combustion vehicles on the surface, and that means less congestion, less smog, and cleaner air.
And the idea of replacing a car with a personal mobility pod, which we've always dreamed of for years and years and years, well, here it is, a carbon-free ride. This is plush, comfortable, convenient, and infinitely preferable to driving around in frustrated circles looking for a parking space. So we've arrived, unruffled, cool, no stress, transport for London, look on and sigh with admiration.
There's so much more going on that I could make a 6-part documentary.
So look, for politicians, legislators, policymakers who might be watching, what would you say that they can learn from your 16 years experience here?
Set the standards high, and then work with the private sector, work with the developers, work with the architects, work with the renewable energy companies to hit those standards, but set targets and enforce them.
And sustainable cities, that kind of beatific goal that the world has been talking about for years and years and years, they are achievable, aren't they?
Well, we are right here. It's being achieved as we speak. And I would say, look, sustainability is not now. Sustainability is not a one-time target. With each development that we do, each building that we do, we get more sustainable.
The problems that every city faces are being tackled here at Masdar with astonishingly successful results. This is a template for the sustainable city of the future, and from where I'm standing, it looks very promising indeed.
Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed focused on knowledge-driven economy. He focused on sustainable diversification. You can see that clearly that oil's share of GDP has dropped to about 30%. That's according to the International Monetary Fund in 2024. Non-oil sectors, especially finance and renewables, are expanding at around 7.1% a year. We have Masdar, which was established in 2006, as we've seen in the video. Abu Dhabi Global Market, ADGM, which was established in 2015. This market hosts over 3,500 financial and professional firms, making it a key player in the global economy. His Highness focused on human capital and innovation. We can see that clearly in Khalifa's University, which is UAE's leading tech university. Now I think more than 4,000 students annually also enrolling in fields like AI, or especially actually AI and engineering. We have Hub 71, which was established in 2019. This initiative supports over 100 tech startups with workspace, funding, and mentorship. Basically, innovation is thriving. Women equality, we can see it clearly in the tech industry. Around 40% of the workforce in Abu Dhabi knowledge and innovation sectors are females. This shows a strong commitment to gender equality. If we talk about His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, with his long-term vision in 2021, he outlined the principles of the 50. It's like a roadmap for Dubai and the whole country till the year 2071. His guiding principle is the government's job is to achieve happiness for people. When it comes to governance, he has the initiative, Smart Dubai initiative, that was in 2014. By going paperless, Dubai saved time and reduced carbon emission. Imagine that no more queues or lost paperwork. Of course, we have the leadership training. I'm representing MBRSG, so the Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government has been training public sector leaders since 2005. By 2024, last year, they had trained 79 leaders in policy and administration. Of course, hundreds and or if not thousands of directors, head sections and employees. It comes to digital excellence, using social media for consultation, boosted citizens' trust in the government. to 85%. That's according to Edelman Trust Barometer in 2024. People feel hurt and involved. Under Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, oil now makes up less than 1% of Dubai's GDP. That was a 2024 estimate. Non-oil sectors are growing at around 6.2% a year. That's actually impressive. Dubai International Financial Center, DIFC, which was established in 2004. This hub now hosts over 4,000 firms, making it a global financial powerhouse. Initiatives like Dubai World and Emirates Airlines drive roughly around 110 billion US dollars in annual trade, backed by the UAE's nearly 1 trillion US dollar sovereign wealth fund. Also under Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, we can see global initiatives which started in 2015 that runs education programs that have reached millions of young people around the world. And in Dubai, at least 30% of leadership roles in government and business are held by women. That's a great step towards equality when it comes not only to Dubai but the UAE. And on the screen you can see the 10 principles of the 50. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid announced the 10 principles of the 50. As you can see on the screen, strengthen the union, build a dynamic economy, economic-driven foreign policy, invest in human capital, build friendly relations, unified national identity, global reputation, digital and scientific excellence, openness and tolerance, last but not least, peace and humanitarian aid. Those concepts are not new. It's not like that started in 2021, but there will be more emphasis on them in the next 50 years, inshallah. So the takeaway from this impressive leadership is to have a clear long-term vision and review it regularly, use digital tools to make things more efficient, transparent, and build trust with citizens, move away from relying on oil to sectors like finance, tourism, renewables, and technology, spend more on education, leadership training, as we are doing here in MBRSG, leadership training and policies that include everyone, especially youth and women, leverage sovereign wealth funds to finance big projects without piling up debt. By learning from these examples, any nation can build strong institutions, diversify its economy, and develop its people, leading to a prosperous and sustainable future. We do not simply copy others, but rather we strive to learn from both their mistakes and best practices to determine what is most suitable for our countries. And I think that applies not only to Nigeria and UAE, but to most countries around the world. Nigeria's rich history and bold reforms show that it has the potential to lead Africa's governance transformation. Your plans for 23-25, such as removing subsidies and investing in technology, set a strong foundation. By combining global insights with local expertise, Nigeria can create a legacy of resilience and prosperity. And to conclude this module, it has been a profound honor to share this short journey with you. Your dedication to progress inspires the world. I am deeply grateful for your time and insights, and I hope you have a lot of success in helping to build a brighter future for Nigeria. I believe personally, you are on a promising path. So stay bold, stay inclusive, and keep your eyes on sustainable progress. My apologies again for the technical issues we encountered last time. Thank you very much, and may the road ahead be paved with justice, wisdom, and unity. Thank you.